Hi there. It is, I think it's Saturday, uh, August 3rd, here in the United States. Um, I want to remind people when we talk about the Second Amendment, that's your right to bear arms. Once again, I had a bunch of videos on Vimeo. I got banned from there as too controversial. They don't want to talk about the light, even though I go down the dark side. I got banned, but that's okay. I'm on YouTube. It's easier to access for people and stuff like that. The Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, was originally put in place to protect yourself from a tyrannical government. It's not for duck hunting. And people, when they're suicidal, those aren't their thoughts. And once you open up that realm and realize those aren't your thoughts, you won't be suicidal ever again. Spirits in you are trying to hurt you, and it's the food chain, okay? It's a very frightening realm to be in. I was never suicidal until after I woke up and became telepathic. And, that word's been around a long time. It's a real realm you can be in, and you can communicate, and you get invocations, and you hear people constantly dialoguing, and spirits and other wares of us, including animals that are being really hurt. A lot of kids are telepathic. They have older spirits in them. So, you're talking, hey, how are you doing? And they might say, hi. Or, you might see their mouth move, or they don't say anything. That's a telepathic being right there, and you're communicating with them. So a lot of you realize you have that gift already. Before you unclock and you actually hear words, it's subliminal. It just feels subliminal. It's like you feel like you need to do stuff, from Botox to plastic surgery to treating your kids horrible to being Stepford. You're in the Stepford realm, and you suffer a lot, and you suffer when you wake up too. It's ego death. Death of the ego is a very humbling experience, one of the most humbling experiences you can ever go through. A good thing to do if you're open and you're really struggling with this and you're sick of them cutting you down inside, because they're just trying to sell you stuff. The dictatorship is trying to sell you stuff all day long, because what are they stuck in? Doctor realm, war realm, the food chain. They don't realize they're in the food chain. When you see that it's all a bunch of brown people, it's because of the blend of the meat. It's ambiguous. It becomes an ambiguous area. And that's why we're seeing this, with the protest and so on and so forth. A good thing you can do if you are struggling, you're overwhelmed, is just listen on the inside. You find yourself being way more productive. This stuff you're watching doesn't rattle your bones and upset you. Like there's an old, the old war videos. You'll see we've come a long way, especially in the United States of America and some other countries where you have the right to bear arms. And a lot of countries, lost their power. And you have to be careful with guns and be careful with ammunition and take the bullets out if you're struggling or this and that. Just be really safe with these things. And you listen on the insides. So you can listen on, I think I mentioned last time, listen on the inside and outside. That becomes kind of a struggle. So, and you'll tune in when someone's talking, you'll be like, oh, you're tuned in to the outside world too. So do that, invoke spirits when you hear them struggling, that they're not doing anything, or you think they're laying around being lazy, smoking pot all day. And I'm a huge proponent of plant medicines. You tell them, listen on the inside. Just keep listening on the inside. And I'm hearing people, my dad just got up and started doing this, or this happened, we're not struggling so much. Just know there's lots of tools you can use to right your ship, but this is a good one. I hate what's on TV. I hate it all, a lot of it. Plant medicines are very important. I saw a video where a store was closing, they were protesting it, this and that. Pick and Save's closing, what are we gonna do? They really feel like they have no power and they have to depend on stores. We don't need more stores. We need homes. We need homes for people, and we need to be plant-based eaters and grow our own food. The universe is actually, we're not going to run out of stuff. Just know that. The universe is literally replenishing and wants to replenish in good areas. And the vegan realm is where you need to be and go. And don't feel guilty if you're eating meat and people are helping you. Be grateful and feed yourself. But try to keep learning the vegan realm and substituting out. I have a video on my Patrice Romero channel. You'll see the realm I was in where I was still coming through to the vegan area. I said dairy's okay. I kind of mentioned the dairy cow, you know, I was still eating dairy and they're not being killed for their meat. Well, they're getting taken from mom. Horrible things are still going on in the dairy. The milk is for them and their babies. It's not for us. So plant-based milks are great. You can make your own. Oat milk is delicious. I've never made oat milk, but I've made coconut milk and almond milk. It's super easy. All you do, if you're interested in any of those, is you get, they have these nut bags, they call them. They're like a sleeve. It's like cheesecloth almost. And you put your oats or your almonds or your coconut, fresh coconut, right out of the coconut. You know, you get the meat out. It's called coconut meat. You put it in a blender with water. With almonds, you blanch, you boil them, and you can remove the skins. The skin pops off really easy. You just remove all the skins. And then you put that in a blender with water, and you blend it. And you can experiment with how much water you want to add, this and that, and then you screen it through one of those nut bags, they call them, and you have this beautiful milk that comes out, and then it leaves the pulp, you know, behind, and you can figure out what to do with that. So you can make your own milk, including oat milk. I was lactose intolerant. I had problems drinking milk. I thought, I'm going to drink a glass of milk before school, I'm safe. I'd had the worst stomach ache all day, and I started drinking Lactaid, which was a still dairy that they did a process to it and removed blah blah blah. So, but now it's your other plant-based milks. So learn how to make them. They're really easy. Vegan food is fun. I mean, cooking is fun when you're in the mood. It's a lot of fun. So fall in love with food and fall in love with cooking, and don't be afraid. Okay. I want to mention insurances, auto insurance. Okay. I don't drive very much now. I'm not going to work. I'm not traveling. I'm not commuting. They automatically put you around 12,000 miles a year. You need to call them if you're not doing a lot of driving, but they're going to want you to prove it as far as you send in a current odometer reading. I didn't even know I was going to have to do that, but I called her and I said, I'm not traveling this much. And she goes, oh, how much do you think you are? We were trying to estimate from like 5,000 to 8,000 miles a year. And I don't even think it'll be that, but my premium from Geico went from like $220. I think originally it was like 90 something dollars. I don't know. And then I don't know, went up to like $220 every 3 months. Now it's $53 every 3 months. Or is it every month? The 6-month installment is $53. Anyway, so you call them and you say, I need to bring my miles down. I'm not driving this much. And you make sure they lower your premium, okay? It's important you do that. You know, I mentioned registration and all these things are requiring, and they should pay for them. I've laxed my insurance and my registration before. I'm current now. You know, they really are trying to go after criminals. You know, if your car's stolen, this and that. They're really not pulling a lot of people over for this from what I'm hearing, but still, be careful with that. And I mentioned going to AAA because I hate the DMV. I can't stand them. I've had so many problems there with the weird energies and the people just really taking personal attacks on me. And I went to AAA and I bought their membership. So you can get your tows, your free tows. But they also offer you to use their services, their DMV services. You go in there and they'll do your car registration, okay? You still have to get your smog check. I hear that's going off the table with the big beautiful bill that was passed. I heard the smog checks are going away. I don't know if it's just here in California, but which is weird that, you know, these things are so separated. You know, they want you to do a smog check. Now you got to go over here to this creepy place or here to this creepy place. And I've had problems with places I've gone to before, just idiots and assholes. Last one was fine. But anyway, so just know there's a lot of things you can learn to bring your monthly output out. Lower it. What do you think the number one thing couples, families fight over? What do you think the number one thing is that they fight over? Money. Money. Money causes the most fights in the realm of the world. It really is the root of all evil. And there is enough to go around. We don't need more stores. We need more thrift stores. People are interested in donating and getting rid of stuff or remodeling or updating or buying a piece of furniture and redoing it. Thrift stores are really needed. There should be a thrift store in every corner. Every corner should have a thrift store. It's so important. We're doing this so backward ass. It's not even funny. That's all I really wanted to talk about right now. I want to remind you, I've told people before, I was literally picking up dog poop one day in the yard. I looked down, I go, I already picked that pile up. So we're getting a reset. It's like, it's too full over here. It can't hold this information. And it put it back on the grass. You know, there's areas in the world where real strong resets are happening like that. And they're playing back your video image, you know, they call it the Akashic record, you know, it's God's record, the universe's record, and real footage of our life is being seen, you know, by spirits. They can do this. Anyway, I want kids to really try not to do a lot of energy work unless you know what's going on, and just try to keep listening. If you need to just strongly listen on the outside, that's a good thing to do, and clock in with what you're doing and let mom and dad help you, and let these spirits listen on the inside maybe, and maybe the parents need to be told to listen on the inside and their outer awares. When you're not awake, you're not awake. You're not hearing any of this, okay? It's subliminal. You don't understand why. Before, when I was asleep, my thoughts would be like, I hate him. I can't fucking stand this. You know, you just sit there and you think that you're alone with these thoughts. You're not. The universe is actually hearing what you're thinking. And just know, women, you have strong men in you and spirits, and men, you have women in you. We're co-ed. It's a mother, father, child. Just know that. Keep riding your ship. It's super important. And don't censor yourself. If you really need to tell somebody how you feel, you have to learn how to not censor yourself, you know, and you don't think. It's like you're the artist, you're the dancer, you're the business person, you're the singer, you are the government, you're part of it. We're all connected. And it's important that you know that these things you worry about, you're censoring yourself in. So don't be afraid to pick up a mic and sing a song, or don't be afraid to get a guitar and not take lessons and just start strumming, and don't censor yourself. I can now do art. You know, I thought I'm just kind of customer service business. And I was talking to my mother-in-law one day, and she goes, I'm not creative. I go, me too. That's exactly what I think. I'm not either. I'm you know, all about this. Well, you are creative, okay? You could write a book if you didn't censor yourself. And you just let the hand do the drawing. You're gonna get weird shit at first. When I started drawing, I was getting scribbles. It was just blackness coming out of me, and then this little image was coming in. It was like a Cruella de Vil with this thing. Yeah, and it evoked like me, for sure. And since then, I've done a lot of cool art, I feel. I have it on my Facebook page, some of the stuff I've drawn. So, same with singing, man. You're going to clear out your pipes and you're going to have fun again. And don't be afraid to have fun in good ways, okay? With your kids and your family. And don't grandstand, parents. We have a real habit of doing that and grandstanding and showing off for our kids. They're really not impressed by us because they're really stupid sometimes, a lot of times when you're asleep, okay? Homeless people, I encourage you, please be safe. Share my link, share my video page. Just, there's a share button. You can message it. You can email it to somebody. Just share my channels, please. It's important you do that. I don't get any donations or anything like that. I'm a money earner. I'd be earning money, but they are taking them from me, you know, the remote viewing. And they can remote view us. They can take over your computer. They do this when they're trying to fix your computer remotely. They'll send you a link and you give them permission to use your mouse. Next thing you know, your mouse is moving and they're doing it, not you, from India or wherever, the United States even. So they can hack you, take your shit and go, you owe us money. You didn't pay this bill and you have a low credit score and you got a divorce and then you tried to not sell your car and it got taken away from you and then you got all that stock in Amazon and then you didn't pay your bills and then you got evicted. So I encourage you to stay healthy as homeless people. Over the counter, off the shelf. If you're feeling ill, get your cold medicines, your fever reducers. A lot of the knockoffs are just fine. I was using a NyQuil Dayquil knockoff from Dollar Tree. It was $2.50, and it knocked out what I was trying to take hold in me, you know, when I was getting sick. So, share my links. Be safe. Don't do anything to get yourself arrested. Don't do criminal activities. Don't drink and drive. Be very safe, okay? Stay in the now as much as possible. If you're listening on the inside, you'll be okay. If you're listening on the outside, you're engaged with people, cool-minded people, you'll be okay. And the other spirits are listening on the inside and trying to resolve issues or, you know, let this information keep purging through. So that's about it for now, and we'll catch up with you next time. All right, toodaloo, peace out.